You're straight like that. Yeah, straight like that. Straight like that. I'm taking my medicine right now. Today we talking about um um mental health. I always talk about mental health. Welcome to If It Ain't Messy, It Ain't Me. I'm the one and only Gemma Worthy, and I'm the only one here, as usual. Why? Because I'm a Gemini, full blood Gemini, and I talk to myself. I work out my issues. Working out my issues, or the journey of working out my issues, brings me along a path of traveling and meeting people and individuals who have similar issues, and we're able to get through some shit. I can only speak certain truths that I've experienced. If I've experienced them, for the most part, I can give my best feedback and be able to either accept what's happened or learn something new on how to uh, still accept, but learn how to work through certain issues. The topic of today is it okay? Is it okay to when is it okay to put your child on mental health meds? When is it okay for an adult to take meds? Right, that's a general topic. Well, general statement. When is it okay to take mental health meds? But at the same time, um, you know, you can't, you know, I got my own opinions. Today's I'm an '80s baby. I was born in 1980. Um, psych med's been around for a little bit. Psych therapy's been around. They've been shocking people in the head. They've been doing lobotomies, cutting people's brains and cracking their skulls and cutting half their brains out and experimenting on people and leaving them in psych wards. Straight jackets, chained, doped up. Some people just chained up, screaming till they pass out and wake up. Force feed them. Some people chained up, medicated. Life sociology. Life is an experiment, the study of human people. You know what I mean? So doctors have been doing sanctioned and unsanctioned experiments on people for hundreds and thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? Um, the practice of medicine, which is an interesting word when it comes to medicine, the practice. They never they never say the finishing of the professionalism of medicine. The all star of medicine is always the practice. Like, why we have to be practicing still all this knowledge and education that we have when it comes to medicine, and we're still practicing. I think it's a sad day, you know, when we're left to practice certain things. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, bear with me for 2 seconds. All right, we had to get it right. We got it right now. We can goddamn deal. Okay, but the practice, they've been doing some crazy things for years and years and years to come. You know what I mean? From years ago. So it's always been a practice. There's no elevated name from practicing that say they didn't actually fix some things. It's just a bunch of people practicing to a point that they feel like they can charge you and take your money to go ahead and get you some medicine and get you some medical help. That should be free in our country, but it's not. But at any rate, like, with all that being said, when someone has to give you medicine for whatever purpose, it's because you have an abnormality, right? Because medicine is supposed to help. Medicine is supposed to fix, right? So somebody inadvertently, um, what's going on, Big Jeff? Appreciate you for chiming in, man. Shout out to Mountainside Bullies, man. Pigsty Bully affiliate. Um, But if someone's given medicine and things of that nature, it's normally because a person has an abnormality, meaning something that's not normal with the status quo of whatever's going on, whether it be the mind, body, or the soul. In this case, the mind and the body, right? So if you're prescribed a medicine, you have something wrong with you, something to fix you. You know what I mean? So again, the word of normal means they have again, sociology is the study of people. They have a scale where they observed enough people and say, hey, this is the norm. This is how we're supposed to act and conduct ourselves as human beings. This is how we're supposed to move forward, as a people and as a culture for years and years and generations to come. Out of 1,000 people, the 900, this is how we need to operate, and this is normal. Anybody acting outside of that is now abnormal. You're obscurity. You have, you know what I mean? You're the oddball, the redheaded stepchild. You need some help. Society doesn't accept you the same. They say he is irrational. He or she is irate. We need to do something different with this person. We need to put them in special classes. We need to, you know what I'm saying? We need to, everybody remembers during school, they had the solitaire class, and they had which were the solitaire booths as well. The solitaire booths was like the desk, like the DMV when you go take your test, when you go vote, it was them joints. You know what I'm saying? So you had to go to the special class, the little whatever it was called. I can't remember the name of it, man. But basically, people getting in trouble and talking out in class or whatever, being disorderly. They had this little group. And it was almost basically like a live in-school suspension. Basically, you separate you from the class, you eat lunch, with everybody else, and you gotta stay in these little isolation booths and everything like that. And then you have your guidance counselor. So you go over there, you start talking to these people in this class, and then they take you to your guidance counselor. They try to talk you through your issues and talk you through your issues. Well, what's going on? Oh, I don't like my teacher. Well, what's going on? Oh, I got trouble at home. Oh, what's going on? Oh, I can't concentrate. Oh, what's going on? Oh, I'm not eating like I'm supposed to. What you mean you're not eating like you're supposed to? I ain't had breakfast. What you mean you ain't had breakfast? I ain't get breakfast at home. Your parents don't give you breakfast? Oh, okay, you know what I mean? So the more of an obscurity that you are, more of an oddball that you are, more outside the norm you are, once you need help, people have to analyze you to see what kind of help you need, and once they start to analyze, they get to digging deep and they get to see that, we have to get into this person's business a little bit, to really figure out the problem. As an adult, I asked the food thing for children, and we can stick to that. Do you have a home? Do you have heat? Do you have water? Do you eat every day? Do you have clothes to wear? Do you have electricity and power in your house? You know what I mean? They start asking the kids that, and they start breaking things down. You know what I mean? And that might be a potential issue. Um, but this is what happens when you say this person's not acting right. They got some things going on. This child may have lights, food, clothing, a stable roof over their head, but might have some inconsistencies with their parenting at home. So they're coming to school, because again, at the end of the day, school, as I spoke before, school is where um, they have the most time with your kids. School, they have the most time with your kids. So they're they're breaking things down to a cellular level, um as best they can with that stage of counseling and intermediate help for your child, as far as observation, because your child is not acting normal, right? So you have those scenarios. That are lacking. You have those who have the material things in order, but they're mostly fucked up because their parents not around. How the child at the time feels like they need to be, so they're going to school acting out. So with that being said, the school calls and says, hey, Mr. Davis, your child Randy over here, he's been acting up. Randy's been acting up consistently. He's in fifth grade. He's 11 years old. We've tried talking to him numerous of times. We have policies and procedures and steps. At first, initially, we put him to the back of the classroom, and then we elevated to, hey, let's just skip recess to put in some kind of sort of punishment. And then it got to the part where we took it to the in school, I'll say the high risk, I'll call them the high risk group, whatever it's called, right? They have a little special name, for the department, where the kids that's messing up go in school. And that's our recommendation for right now. We just need to go ahead and send that paperwork. Give you a courtesy call, but we want to send that paperwork over to you, let you know that your child at this point, these are the steps. We put them in the corner. She in the corner first. Then they kept persisting. We went ahead, send some notes home. Maybe you did or didn't get it. Well, yeah, I got it, but he's a kid, right? Decided to go ahead and implement some type of punishment and decided to go ahead and let them skip recess, and give them some more time to think about the situation. Now it's to the point to where they're being extra disruptive. They're a little bit, they can't really, stay in their seat too much. I need to go ahead and send them to the at-risk class. The next step is going to be out of school suspension, and then after that, we'll go ahead and see what other programs that we might have as far as an ulterior learner, a motive of learning for your child, or see about if they need a different kind of actual different kind of school type setting altogether outside of this schooling program. So they're telling you all these things that have you thinking like, well, what the fuck y'all think is wrong with my child? What is he doing again? What is she doing again? Oh, he's over talking his peers sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't raise his hands, and sometimes he gets up out of his seat a little bit more often than others. Sometimes, again, all these emphasis on sometimes is because, now they're telling you your child is not of the norm. Out of the 30 kids in the classroom, out of their 10 years of teaching, you know what I'm saying? They've seen them come and go. This child right here is not acting right. So these are our observations, and really kind of that's what's going on today. I know some of y'all probably seen the young lady, her video went viral where she recorded a parent. She called the parent for the same thing and let her know that her child was acting up. But there's a little extreme to this to her story, because the parent actually didn't care, or gave they gave a summary of, okay, you fixed the problem. Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? So back to what I was saying. All right, we've graduated to different levels of disciplinary action internally. They're telling you it's the last internal action in school suspension. Basically, we're going out of school suspension. Then we'll talk to the superintendent about other schooling programs outside of our school currently right now. Right. So they're doing all these things to let you know your child is abnormal. Your child is not normal. Now you're taking offense. To a point, you're listening, you're not snapping on them, you're receiving what they're saying, but then you're like, well, damn, I hear this sometimes, and this sometimes they're not doing this like everybody else, but at the end of the day, isn't he or she just being a kid? Aren't they just, what he says, 11, fifth grade? Like, aren't they just being a kid? What's the problem? It's not real. I mean, what's his grades like? They could be better. Got some C's, couple B's, little C, my couple, and got about one D. It could be better than this. It's in science. Well, goddamn, everybody got to have trouble with science, right? Yeah, and again, that's not really the issue we're talking about. It's just your child sometimes gets out of seat and sometimes overtalks me more than normal. Sometimes cuts his peers off when they take their turn and raise their hands. Sometimes, gets out and goes to the bathroom without asking something. Well, why would my child have to ask you to go to the bathroom? If you got to go to the bathroom and got to, So you're going through all this because the reality at the end of the day, when you get done arguing or passionately debating and trying to defend your child, how is not he or she is not abnormal. They're just a kid. And like the video that's going on now he's taking a stance like, well, why can't you handle it? Don't you have some type of training? Don't you have some kind of insight? How long you say you've been doing this? 10 years? 10 years. So there's no other techniques that you know of that you can think that that you can utilize on my child, that they can go ahead and get through their 5-6 hours a day, get their work and come home and we integrate some kind of different system. We have to go through all this. Well, I'm glad you said that. There is an alternate. There is another way. There is another path. Now, what we can do, we can go ahead and don't have to worry about the in-school suspension. We don't have to worry about the warnings, right? We don't even have to worry. We're going to sweep this off the books. We don't even have to worry about lettering the superintendent. We don't want to bring Dr. Bosher in this. We don't want to bring Dr. Bosher. And I feel like you sound like Randy. You sound like a sound man, that you have a good back and good come from a good family. And maybe there's just some misunderstandings over here with Jacob. So I tell you what. Why don't we go ahead and send you a recommendation to our other counselor, right? This counselor reevaluate them. You see what I'm saying? And after they reevaluate the child, they go ahead and determine uh, um if he or she needs some medication. Now, hold on. I know a lot of people have fears about the medication, but I tell you, you'd be surprised how many children, take these low doses and they end up being just fine. Now again, you don't have to do this. The ulterior is the superintendent's ready to bring the board in on moving your child to a secular school. We're already ready to go ahead and start our school suspension. But we don't have to do any of this, because all you got to do is take this little bit, go ahead and go to our doctor, and they may or may not, knowing good and goddamn saying that, knowing good and goddamn well they finna go get them hooked on some medicine, right? So you have to make some decisions as a parent at this point, right? Like, dang, do I fight the system and say my child doesn't need any medicine? They're just being a child, and the teacher and the staff are not capable of handling my caliber of child, right? And take that route and say, you know what? No, we're going to fight this. We're going to go ahead, because there's levels to this. We're going to go ahead and talk to the superintendent. We're going to talk to the school board. I don't need to go to this other psychiatrist. I don't need to go ahead and tell them that my child is weird and different from everybody else just because he gets up a little bit more. Just because because some of these characters, we now know some of these characters, like, oh man, he's really, he's got a little more drive than everybody else. He has looked like he had potentially got some leadership skills. He can speak up for himself. You know what I'm saying? He can go to the bathroom when he needs to. Doesn't feel the need to do the things that he needs to do as a human being, which is relieve your waste. He'd be like, you know what? I'm going to the bathroom. And you know what? And you're not seeing me. Okay, I'm gonna speak up, because those are strong attributes, in life to have. Those are signs of leadership, not the signs of an obscure child. But at a certain age range, they want you to be like this. And being like this right here in this box, you're messing up this box. So we go ahead and need to place you in another category. Right? So we can put your child on some medicine. You say, nah, fuck that. I'm not putting my child on no medicine. And you've written to the school board. And y'all have y'all meeting. And they say, Randy, I understand what you're saying. You sound like you come from a good family, a good backing like that and everything. It's just that old Jacob over here is a little bit too much. Now, alternatively, what we can do is put him in, Miss Nance's class. Now, I'll be honest. She's you didn't like Miss Watkins over here, but Miss Nash, she's a little more stern of a teacher, if you will, in her technique, but she's fair. So I'm not sure if it'll be a good fit per se for you, but we can definitely go ahead and give it a try and move little Jacob over to another class and just see how he does. You know what I mean? But I just want you to be aware now. It is noted that we did, make a solid attempt to see if your child is more of a better mesh in the school system with Miss Nash versus Miss Watkins. But, again, I want to be fair and just put this on the table, Randy. If Lil Jacob does not, smoothly transfer and add cohesiveness, to the school program on Miss Nash, then we will be, unfortunately discussing some harsher measures about alternative, modes and methods of teaching outside of, our school, our physical school right here. So now the parent is like, well, goddamn. So you got options. You can go ahead again. You can go ahead, string them along to the next teacher, see if that teacher go ahead and do something with that child, automatically put them on the medicine, or you can go ahead and move into a private school sector, right? You can go ahead and pay extra money to go ahead and put your child in a situation and try and see if they will be able to meet your child's needs in a private section, to give more smaller class groups, more concentration on your child and their so-called abnormalities, right? But check it. Most parents end up putting a child on some sort of medication. Let me see. Yeah, most people end up let me see right here. Let's see, children. Mental. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's 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 a sad it's sad and there's so many different things, ADHD, Asperger's, autism, so many different things, but they're so quick now to label and label a person, um, label a person, and sell the parents on, hey, we just need you to put your children on medicine and they can stay in our school system and we feel like they'll be more effective. Again, they're trying to treat an abnormality, saying something is different. So now they're giving them something that slows their kids down, um, and alters the children's way of thinking, alters the children's um, um, facial outward appearances and expressions. Now we know factually we have some kids that look like they've been born and bred on speed. You know what I mean? Speed alone. Um, and definitely there's different situations. I guess again, it's all derived from because people feel is normal or not normal. I mean, some schools is not good for everybody. At the end of the day, let's just speak factually. Our job at the end of the day is to raise our children to be able to eat, clothe themselves, provide a home for themselves, and some kind of currency. And unfortunately, if you have a more of a farm or rural life or something, or some kind of situation set up, a homeschool situation set up for your child, you necessarily don't have to put your kid on any medicine. I mean, you know what I mean? Um, we're caught up in as parents, running the rat race of having to work the 9 to 5s and 2 and 3 jobs and just to put food on the table and make things happen. But God knows that task is that more difficult with a child that the outward world feels like is extra hyper. You might not. Some people don't necessarily feel their children are hyper. It's like, man, they'll grow out of it. You know, and most of those stories you hear, like as the person gets older, they're more mature and more so called in control of their actions, reactions, and emotions. And they know how to control themselves in different environments. And when you're a child, maybe your body is not wired as everybody else's, so they feel the need to slow you down and make you quieter. But as a testament, man, a lot of people are leery of taking that journey because aside those things slowing you down, every pharmaceutical has a side effect. You know what I mean? So we're subjecting our children to the side effects of these medicines, at the same time while it's piping them down for everybody else. For everybody else. And again, this is just based off a scale of normalcy. Out of 1,000 people, they say these 900 are acting this way, so these 100 are the weirdos. These 100 are the people that need to be put away. These are the people that need to be put on medication. But again, some of those attributes we now know, autism, all that stuff, man. These people who are hyperactive, hyper vigilant in their minds and stuff like that. If that's the right word I'm looking for. You put them on the right task, you find the right task for them, they're now normal, right? They're now in the lane of life that they can go ahead and operate and conduct themselves in a more efficient way that's pleasing to them, that gives them more benefit from benefit of life and things and wellness of life. But they've been fighting because everybody else thought they were abnormal, but they're not really an abnormality because most normal people are fucked up people. Truth be told, most so-called normal people are fucked up people who are trying to act normal because there's a lot of off-scale people that knows how to act normal so they don't get tagged and labeled, abnormal, obscure. Like, you're not cool. We thought you were cool, but you can't be in the cool group now. You almost was there, but no. Um, you know, I see, I was on medicine, put on medicine at a young age. I think it was around like 9 8 9 years old. Um, and I remember um, what it made me feel like. I remember intimately what I think it was Ritalin, what it made me feel like. And it just did something. You know, it just did something, and you just feel trapped. You feel like that movie Get Out. You feel like that movie Get Out in the sunken place, and you're there, and you're doing work, and you're, you know, and, and everything sounds like Charlie Brown. Womp 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 womp. Oh, he's doing so much better now. Oh yeah. Well, he did slow he did slow down on his participation, but his grades have improved. Of course, I ain't participating. I'm sitting there like a goddamn zombie at my desk. You know what I'm saying? And and you know, I'm trying to get through. I'm hearing. I'm doing what humans do. I'm like, I hear the information. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing long division and all this. I'm like, oh, this is work. I'm in the matrix out here, But I was labeled obscure to a point. To a point. I was grouped and bunched with people to a point, and I know a lot of them that I could remember. There was only a certain few going through the years, unless we had like a new person moving in town. But they ended up turning out to pretty dope people. They end up being turned out to pretty dope people. Most people who they label, unless you like. And I can't even say that. I can't even say slow, because again, once you put a person in their right environment to where they can thrive, that's where the mental health world and the pill world wins, because the world is set up for people's time is precious, so they don't have the time. But if you put those people in the right environment, but the medical world will have you put your child or the patient inside of a medical facility, so where they got to run up insurance or payments if you ain't got insurance, and we got the right program for them over here. Now you get to go somebody else watching and raising your child, and you got to find town now. Your busy child, your busy schedule to go visit your child now. Um, but it's a double-edged sword. It was like when is the proper time? How hyper does your child have to be for you to put your child on medication, or to say, hey, I want to remove my child from the situation and find an alternate way of education, an alternate way of learning for my child? Because at the end of the day, it's just so they can go ahead and learn enough to go ahead and do something to feed themselves and their family, if they're for the family, right? At the end of the day, that's the truth. That's the truth. At the end of the day, we're born to learn to feed ourselves, provide for ourselves. If we have a family, provide for our families, and also be a positive asset, provide for our community. That's it. You don't have to necessarily traditionally go to traditional school. If you're taught in the way of an entrepreneur, you don't need school to a certain degree, and you may not need it. I mean, once you know how to move things, you can contract situations out and move your company, strategically set your company up a certain way to where, you don't necessarily have to be the one with the degree. You understand what I'm saying? So we're quick because, we don't live in, everybody's not an entrepreneur. Everybody's not an entrepreneur with their shit together to be able to go ahead and intelligibly, pass these situations on. You know what I mean? So it's not that easy. You gotta have your situations together so you can go ahead and pass that along properly. And we're not as dependent, on the traditional school system. And we see where the school system is going now. Again, we're in a rush to put our kids on some medicine, but we see where the school system is going now. Like, they have the lowest attention span of anything going on right now, as far as most of the teachers. Again, they got so many programs now and so many steps and levels to go ahead and remove your child from the situation versus, really trying to respect that person and respect that person and their personalities. Sure, we have, like, again, scream again. I'm bending, not breaking. Sure, we have kids, that scream autistic and hyper this and hyper that and advanced this. Sure, there's all those situations. I'm not negating those. So again, at that point, it's finding the proper environment. You know what I'm saying? But we don't account for that in the general school system. In the public school, you have to go to a whole nother special program. All you gotta do is have something built within the school system. If you got a special classroom, still do it in the public school form. But to go ahead and automatically put a child, have a bunch of screamers, like, again, if you really listen to the kids screaming out there, you find out they're telling you some beautiful things. We watch all these movies based on a true story, Somebody misunderstood as a child, tortured basically because they was trapped in their head and being led by people who didn't understand them to where they got to a point they could prove themselves and end up being like something supernatural. Our children are products of their environment. Their internal and external environments, even from the womb, from the foods and everything. So we're gonna have some kids with a little edge on them. We're gonna have some kids with a little extra. Unfortunately, that it is what it is. You know what I mean? What's in the air, what we digest in our body, the waters and fluids we put in, the rain and the osmosis and stuff that touches and affects our skin and our cellular levels. Our kids absorb all of that. So most of grown folks just like the kids, but it's easy to start training the body in certain ways and these blockers and stuff to go ahead and these kids are hyper. I won't say hyper. They're turned up a little bit. They're turned up enough off the normalcy scale for the people to start suggesting medicine to our kids at a very early age. That's what I'm trying to say. The scale of normalcy. The scale of normalcy has been tweaked in such a way to where the average hyper kid, which is it's going to be hyper at this day and age with all the fast food restaurants, with all the goddamn processed sugars, with all the processed foods, the stuff that we consume, all these businesses and stuff we go to and spend our currency to keep the money alive and this, that, and the third. All those things, most of those things are things that hurt us. Truth be told, most of those things, even from laundry detergents and all that stuff, parts per million, parts per billion, things that get within our clothes and cause our body to do things and start to turn cells into cancerous cells. These are true things. These are facts. So the external environments have been set up to highly affect our internal environments, our genetic codes, our DNA responses, our characteristics, to make us hyperactive, hypervigilant, to a certain degree. And when those arise more than none, they go, oh no, they couldn't handle it. They're not normal. We need to go ahead and take them out. I believe that we should try harder. I believe that we should try harder for our kids in that right and not be so fast to sacrifice our kids totally to the public system in that right. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what we do, the way it's set up. Because again, these institutions are with our children the bulk of their day, the bulk of their life. If you got the long game, it's normally you drop them off for daycare in the morning. Daycare puts them on the bus, and this is the long situation. Daycare in the morning, daycare puts them on the bus. They go to school, so you gotta get up at 5:30, 6. You gotta be at the door at 6:30. Basically, daycare feed the kid, right? Get there by 6:30. I'm at the daycare. They got them for 2 hours until school. School got them for 6 hours. Depending on your job, but I'm going long game. You gotta come back. You come back. To pick your kid up from after daycare. Long game. They got you pick them up 5:45, right? So you paying for aftercare for a whole goddamn hour and a half in the evening. 2 hours in the morning, hour and a half in the evening. You picking them up. You got to go to daggone soccer practice. You go to soccer practice. The coach got them for an hour, right? But in between, you got them driving, picking them up to daycare, before care, after care, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. You got your child for approximately, as far as you consciously talking to your child, probably about, let me see, 4:15s, 5:15s. Even for the quick pick up the food or cook something at home and get a bath, maybe 2 hours out of a 24-hour day. Maybe. This is the window of time you have maybe with your child a day out of a 24-hour day, 2 hours. The school got them, the sports got them, the bus driver got them, the daycare, after daycare got them. Everybody else got them. And then, when they come home, they go to bed, right? So we're quick to listen. We're quick to listen to the school system when they say, "Oh, your child may need medication. Oh, your child, may not thrive in this environment like everyone else." We're quick to listen to them instead of charging them to have better programs internally inside school that suit your child better. Because again, that's where your tax dollars pay for the public school system, supposedly, right? The tax dollars pay into that. But just because out of time and convenience, we'll listen. We'll go with the doctors and you say, you know what? Let's try the medicine. And outwardly, again, the medicine is not just the medicine. It may slow your child down. It may bring them down a little bit. It may tweak them down, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, your child is now changed forever. And at the end of the day, except for the parents that, because some of them say take it, once a day, every day for the rest of their life. Some parents may take them off on the weekends, and put them back on school days. But at the end of the day, it's now a convenience to you because now at home, you don't even have to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? You're like, he's actually listening. Again, some of these things that we try to curtail and take out of our kids with medicine, right? Those are genius characteristics. Those are leadership characteristics. Those are adventurous characteristics. Those are things we need in this world, right? Geniuses, people willing to go ahead and explore, be adventurous. People willing to reach for the moon and reach the stars, hit the moon, et cetera, be the best athlete. These are the things that we go ahead and we subject our child. We try to take away, basically, that we remove from them once we start giving them medicines instead of finding a better suit for them. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a medical situation. Now some of the kids out probably do need the medicine, and kids was out there shooting up the goddamn school. Now, those kids needed the goddamn medicine. You understand me? Them kids, like now now I feel bad. That's like the extreme left of what I was saying, right? Nah. Them motherfuckers need some medicine who went up in all them goddamn schools and all them public places doing that retarded stuff. Because their parents went too far. It's like, you know what? We're going to put them in the environment. You're right. We're going to put them in an environment that better suits them. We take them hunting and shooting all day and all night. This was a better fit for him. Look at him. He can go ahead and take a gun apart and put it back together in under 30 seconds. He can't quite read yet, but it doesn't matter because he knows how to hunt. You're like, yeah. So at the end of the day, man, when is the proper time? How early? Where's the space to let your child get to that age to where you feel like, I want to put them in an environment where they don't need the medicine, just let them get to a mature age. Because most of the time when you get to a mature age, they ended up trying to eventually weaning them off the medicine, right? But the medicine has already taken effects to their bodies, permanent effects to their bodies, the side effects to that. There's certain things that was locked away in your child that they could exhibit in as a form of greatness and representation of you and your family's lineage and history, but you went ahead and quieted that thing down, with these pharmaceuticals. I was thinking of something earlier today. It's like I posted something a little earlier, a little messy, but, it said God's plan. Are you thankful? Are you thankful for your plan? Are you thankful that your parents put you on medicine? Are you thankful that you didn't put your kids on medicine? Are you thankful? Because we do things. We try to be better parents when it's our time to do the parenting, but we end up doing things that inadvertently was done to us, and we didn't like it. I was talking to my aunt last night, and I gave similar commentary. I was like, we didn't like it. I said, but that shows the grace part about God. We used to judge at first when you was on one side of the gun, but when you're on the other side and you get through it, and you're like, dang, I understand now. That's where you show grace. That's where you show forgiveness and openness, and you see that person again, your paths cross, like, man, I understand. My bad. Woo, woo, woo. So as children, we get through these paths of misunderstandings in life where our parents don't understand this, our peers don't understand this, our school system doesn't understand this, and they put us through these gauntlets, and he's like, man, I never want to do this to my child. I've been here, I've done that. I know how it feels. I don't want to do this to my child. I feel like I'm in a bad situation right now, morally as a person and as a parent. You know what I mean? I know my child is different, but at the same time, like, what can I do and where can I put them to help them thrive? That's going to be more beneficial to them other than loading them up on drugs and dope. You know what I mean? And having to deal with the ill effects of that, tearing up their body on the back end. Because, again, that's ultimately what drugs does. With pharmaceuticals, they have these crazy side effects. And, they have the high potential of altering certain things in your body for the rest of your life. If you take these medicines long term. This is a more faster paced environment, more faster paced educational system now. So, the mathematics, the delivery of mathematics have changed. The techniques of teaching mathematics have changed. The techniques of reading have changed. Like my kids now, they come home and I'm just boggled by what I see them come home with, the work that they're doing in school. And the way they're teaching them. If they have a math issue and we try to help them and they look like, I can't even say look like we writing Chinese because the new technique they're using is a Chinese, technique with the little boxes and, so forth and so on, which is not a bad thing, you know what I mean? But again, it's different techniques. But again, it's more fast paced. With a more fast paced situation, in bigger classes, again, the concentration cannot be on your child. The concentration cannot be, enough attention can't be on your child so much because they got to get through these blocks of instruction. They only got 45 minutes per period or however they got it broken down. And if your child is an annoyance, an outside abnormality to their class of distraction, then they go ahead and start making a file, a docket, a blanket on your, or a docket file on your child of now, how it's beginning to be a nuisance. And we need to think of ulterior measures to potentially, medicate your child. I think overall, this world has shown itself to be let's say, get down or lay down. If you don't get with the new times, you're going to get left behind. But you don't really get left behind. Because God's timing is God's timing, right? God's plan is God's plan, right? I always say, right? Again, it's double-edged sword. Because out of convenience of the parent, that's why they end up putting their kids on medicine. Well, let's just try it, damn it. I can't. The other school I need to put you in is only on the other side of town. It's not only on the other side of town. It's on the other side of town and goddamn cost, $600 a month to go to or $800 a month to go to. Right? Let's just go ahead and put them on the medicine and see what happens. Him, her, whomever. And you're faced with some hard truths and realities of this world as a parent when you do eventually, unless it's a very extreme circumstance, you should feel some kind of way as a parent when you put your kid on a medication. There should be some kind of pause to it, like, okay, I know why I'm doing this. And then think about like, wow, this is why I'm doing this. I don't have time. I can't make alternative measures that won't break us. Um, I just can't do it right now. Just put them on the drugs, right? Just put them on the drugs. Let's let's just try it, baby. Just we'll start them out in small doses. We'll start them out in small doses just to see how his body reacts, and then we'll go ahead and elevate the levels as needed. Just to curtail. And again, we don't want them all. It's not like the other stuff. It's not going to have you like a zombie. We're going to go ahead and check on you on the weekly basis here, and we're just going to go ahead and get your medications up to the proper level, just to go ahead and get that edge down, right? You do that, and the children tell a different story. As I was talking to my aunt yesterday, we understand the intent of what you were trying to do now as an adult, right? But what you guys didn't understand was the delivery. And this is an endless cycle when it comes to parenting, because when you become a parent, as I shared, the revelation you have about the delivery, how you was affected as a child, you have to remember that same situation when you're raising your children. Because we often, I know I do, I'll have a moment, if I have a ill moment, and I'll think about, a mom, a dad in my life, or an aunt or uncle in my life. I'm like, okay, I was trying to be cool. I was trying to talk. I didn't talk quite a few times. I didn't walk by and cleaned up behind and straightened up, and we done talked, and we done talked, and we done talked, and we done talked, and God damn it, clean this goddamn room. God damn it. All these things come out, they come out at a very high level of aggression, because you've been patient. So at the times, most kids, they remember, hopefully they remember more good than bad, but some of us remember a lot of bad, when it came to disciplinary actions, you know. So when you think of those and have those references, hopefully, if God gives you the ability to remember certain things in your life, you can go ahead and check yourself. You can go ahead and check yourself greatly, and what, let me handle this thing different. First of all, let me go ahead and if my mom or dad is still living, let me go ahead and talk to them. Hey, I get it, understand, or apologize, or say, hey, I think you owe me one of the three. Well, you can go ahead and have a different level of dialogue on the situation now. When you're able to reflect and have moments, because you're, evidence, not evidence, but experience is the best teacher, right? So experience is always going to be our best teacher. So when we when we go through things and consider these levels of medications for our children, man, you really got to think about what you've been through. You got to think about trusted people who are solid people around you, have had shared similar experiences. So when your child is going through something like that, when somebody is trying to automatically put your child on medication, you're not like automatically jumping at the gun to put them on there. I'm not saying they may not need something to curtail their energy, so to speak, a little bit. But at the same time, I'm like, if we can work as a people to have positive ulterior teaching situations and learning situations for our children, and really take a time to put a plan together, a life plan together for our children. The public school system is what it is, but you can get the same thing without going to the public system. You know what I mean? It's the truth, but it's inconvenient because that system is already put together in a well-oiled situation. When you have to homeschool, it's hard, it's challenging, and if you're now homeschooling, you're taking your child to a group of peoples who do homeschool their kids, and hopefully you're staying there with your child, learning and on how to reinforce those things at home, so eventually maybe you can get to a stage where you can teach your child yourself. It's a slippery slope But what do you say? When do you put your child on medication? You know what I'm saying? What's the limit? Do you have a limit? Do you have a firm nose? Definitely, like, I'm not putting my kid on no medicine. I'm not putting my child on medicine. I'm gonna go ahead and get on the school board's behind, and we're gonna push the envelope, and we're gonna see what programs we got where my child can still go to school, hang with their peers in their environment, and still feel normal and not like an outcast. Or you have to pay to go to a private environment to where they won't push it, to that degree. But if your child really, really has a problem after going to those environments, then you have to take a second look. Do I want them in the school system? Do I want them in a homeschool situation? What do I want to do with my child? Or am I automatically going to go ahead and put them on medication and make somebody else rich because nobody understands what you under. Your child is your DNA. Your child is part of you, and if you don't know you, you know what I mean. You'll easily go ahead, in my opinion, put your child on some medication because they've been labeled abnormal under these conditions and rule sets. Yeah, you know you, so you should be able to defend you. Hopefully, you know their father, so to a certain point, you should be able to go ahead and defend. But hopefully, nobody's there alone in those meetings. But y'all should be able to go ahead and defend your child with absolute no reservation. Like, these personalities come from this and that, and this, this is what we stand on. This is how we let them be them. We don't, well, they don't know how to do this in school, so we need, okay, well, maybe this ain't the school for them. Again, on one hand, you could stand up like, you know what, we're going to take them out to school. Bye. And go through what you got to go through. Or some people just, I don't know. Let's just try it. Just see. And don't let them be highly addictive. Like people that are susceptible to addiction. Oh my God. They start popping whatever. And that's a whole, and that's a whole nother backstory, Once you get used, it's like candy. Once you get used to popping a medication and it makes you feel, how it makes you feel, that opens the gateway door. How they say marijuana is the gateway drug for everything else hard. You put your kid on some hyperactive medicine or whatever at a young age and normalize them popping pills. So when their friends say they're hanging out or going to parties or whatever they doing, or they popping perks, they popping tramadol, trazodones, and whatever all that other crap is, whatever it's called. You know what I'm saying? Like, was it clonazepam? When they pop, they taking the hard stuff early. They taking the hard stuff early now because they've normalized taking and popping pills at a young age. It's been normalized. So again, it's not just a one-sided thing. And then again, most of these parents, with that being said, get lost in the sauce because they don't know their kids hooked on pills and they're hanging out with their friends and they don't know what they're really into. Once you get put on, once you start that pharmaceutical journey, man, sky is the limit, and you know that you keep on moving on. Sky is the limit. Hey, they're going through the roof with it. Most of them, they end up experimenting with different stuff, man. They off to the races. And then depending on how bad they are, if they end up getting too bad and blowing through their prescriptions and start getting the street stuff, most of that stuff is cut with fentanyl now. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about. Again, I jumped around on my messy mindset, but at the same time, like, how young you want to put your kids on medicine? Like, what can you do to really thrive and help your child thrive and succeed, other than go ahead and come to the resolution where you need to put them on medication for the teacher's convenience and not your child's convenience? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's not a convenience to your child. You shutting something down on your child. You shutting a piece of them down and now opening them up to get hooked on pharmaceuticals and stuff and popping pills and stuff for the rest of their life. That's what come with that. The The truth is, the system is set up, this world and our time is set up to where, you know what, we say, fuck it, put them on the medicine. Put them on the medicine. Let's just try it. Let's just try it. Put them on the medicine. Put them on the medicine. Let's just try it. Let's just try it, you know? Let's all do a line. Let's just try it. You know, it's a little coke. Let's just try it. I don't know. Let's just try it, right? Because you don't have the time as a parent. Because you do or don't have a job that, you know, gives you the leisure to take care of your family. You don't have a job that's close enough to run back and forth, you know, to your child's age. Your job was always on the other side of town. Your kid go to school over here. It's like, fuck it, man. I can't take any more of these emails. I can't take any more of these phone calls. I ain't got no more time to go to meetings, man. Just put them on the medicine. Let's just see. Let's see. Well, his participation has dropped a little bit, but his grades have turned around, and you know, he's a joy in class. He really is a sweetheart. He comes in the morning, gives me a hug. We love him. He's a sweetheart. I love the little guy like my own son. He over there. That's how her sons be at her table in her house. I love him like my own son. Yeah, we gotta be careful, man. We gotta be careful when we're making those decisions about our children. When we say it's for our children, is it for your children? Or is it for you? Are you putting your children on medication for the child or for you? Out of benefit of the child or for you? Let's be honest. That's an honest, a serious, a simple question, probably with a very intricate thought process. Who benefits more on taking these medications, the child or you in the school? That's just something to think about. It's a little bit messy, but there's a method to the madness. Statistically, again, the gateway is the earlier they put them on the medicine, the more they grow up and start popping and taking, you know, doing more drugs. And we know how that lifestyle goes. Kids 17, 18, they shooting up schools, ODing, suiciding, gigolo and hoeing and everything. They just wilding out and end up at, you know, doing lackluster things if they graduate high school. Well, I really would have thought he went to college. Oh, she was the best. I thought she was going to be a veterinarian. She's over there selling newspapers. Because she just want to pop pills, man. She just want to get out here and pay the rent if she can and go ahead and get her pills, man, and goddamn pop off. He just want to go ahead and get his little lean for his back of depression. He just want to get his pills. He just want to pop off. That's all he want to do. And in their head, it's normal. It's okay. Look, that's the new normalcy. It's okay. The obscurity, the abnormal child now thinks it's normal to take these medicines and prescriptions to make them feel a kind of way. They feel like it's normal to make them feel a kind of way to take these medicines and prescriptions now. You know, they self-medicate. They don't need to go to a doctor now. They're like, man, I've been taking this shit so long. And I got peers come to find out 60% of them on something. So now I know more about their medicine, more about their drugs and their drugs. We done swap drugs and medicines and stuff now. I know how I want to feel. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. I now know how I want to feel. And don't you dare try to intrude on my life later on. I'm like, oh. Again, who'd you start, you know, put them on medicine for? The child or for you? Because that comes to backfire. The chicken come home to roost. He's always in that damn room. She's always in her she's already over Rachel's house. You don't care. She out your hair. She ain't dead, right? Her and Rachel over that junk getting higher than Cooter Brown. You understand me? They out that junk. Hey, they getting intergalactular, goddamn high, Matrix high out this joint. They out of here. It's their thing now. You were like, I don't know what happened. They call you, oh, they OD'd, or mom, you see them stealing and shit or whatever. Like, I just don't know what happened. You was just, you wasn't a bad kid. I don't know that. Hey, they been going to party, sneaking out the crib or in the room, goddamn, just popping off, zombie, zombie. So that's something to think about. I know that's real messy and extreme, but that's something to think about. How early do you put your kids on it? That's the extent of what your kids can get out to. When the younger you put them on medicine, instead of removing them into an environment where they can thrive properly, um, they end up traditionally be a pillhead, man. Be strung out, and you know, and put a damper on their fullness of life. That's just something to think about, man. At the end of the day, I appreciate y'all. Shout out to the XLBC, the Callow family. Again, the Christmas parade 2 weeks ago was great for the city of Richmond. It was great for the American Bully XL. Shout out to Get More Graphics. Great value, great product. Responsible for all my banners, printed shirts, embroidery gear, and vinyl signs. Get More Graphics. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram. GITMOR GRAPHIX graphics. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook. And tell a Gemma sent you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for your feedback. And as always, if it ain't messy, it ain't me.